someone feels you even when you're not around, okay? Spirit gave me this image of them in bed at night. They're kind of going through all the things they received during the day. They see your name, they see angel numbers, synchronicity signs, and even I'm hearing you're communicating through music. You're sending each other songs, and in these songs, you know, when you hear that song, there's this sense of like, oh my God, it's a message from them. And this to me, honestly, with the Magician card, it's like your connection is happening on a soul level, okay? And currently, there is in a way of frustration, I feel like, on your end and also on their end. It's like, it's a frustration that goes both ways, where it's like you wish you would have more movement. And both of you are waiting for the other person to make a move, okay? Earlier, I was hearing that song by Ariana Grande, Into You, and it goes like, oh baby, look what you started. The temperature is rising in here. Is this gonna happen? Been waiting and waiting for you to make a move before I make a move. So they are waiting for you to make a move and you're waiting for them to make a move, and then you're kind of both trying to figure out what is going on while you're also being flooded with all these signs and synchronicities. And this is how it feels. It's like you're with that blindfold. I feel like you have to rely on the unseen right now, because that is all you have. But in a way, Spirit wants me to tell you that the unseen is not really unseen, because you see, everything that we encounter in our lives, you know, for example, the signs, synchronicities, angel numbers, the butterflies, or whatever you see, you know, this is all coming from other realms. So when you see the synchronicities, that is already kind of the evidence. I know it's not necessarily the movement you wish to see, because sometimes we get so caught up, and I know that from my own experience, we get so caught up because we want to see the text. We want to see the text, and we're like, if I don't see the text, I will freak out. You know, I needed that text. There is this sense of inner unrest if you don't have the text. But Spirit gave me this clear message here to share. Redefine the meaning of contact, okay, for yourself. What does it mean to be in contact with someone? Acknowledge the subtle energetic transmissions that are happening between you. When you can sense their energy, when you're thinking of that person, you kind of receive a message from them. When you kind of receive something where you're like, this thought is kind of not my thought, it comes from them. I just know, or you get a flash of what they're doing or how they're feeling, or you can sense their presence. All of this is you already communicating, and Spirit wants you to acknowledge that. Wow. Make yourself aware that right now you're already in contact, okay? And start seeing your thoughts. You know, when they pop up in your mind, you get these songs, you get an angel number, you get these little hints here and there, these breadcrumbs from your future. Make yourself aware that this is connection, okay? And your connection, I'm feeling this very specifically for you, because it's a soul bond. This started long before you met, okay? Your connection, because you have always been connected on a soul level. You were connected before your physical encounter, if it makes sense. So that's why all your life you've kind of been waiting for that person. There was something missing, but you didn't know what it was. And then they came along, and this intense energetic flash happened, but you were left with all these questions, and they were not really answered. But I want you to know, honestly, I'm not joking when I'm saying this. You can have your questions answered even if you are in physical no contact, because you can always reach out to that person on an energetic level. So I want you to really think about it. Well, the Wheel of Fortune popped up. And the devil underneath, come on. Think about it this way. This connection, because it is on a soul level, because your higher selves, in the other plane are already connected, or it's almost like there's this web that already exists, that connection already exists. It's going back and forth. You don't need a text or a phone call to reach out to them, but you can reach out to this person whenever you want. And the way you do this is through your energy, and more specifically through your heart center. When you have a clear intention, okay? When you have a clear intention and you know the truth deep within yourself, like how you feel about that person, when you take all these doubts, all these obstacles out of the way, like for a second, take them, put them in a little box, okay, and put them away and focus only on what you feel. And really tune into that connection that on a soul level. I'm not talking about knowing rationally, I'm talking about knowing intuitively that exists. This is your connection. This is the thread between you. And by the way, I have a whole exercise that is called the thread method, where I teach you how to tune into this energetic connection between you on a soul level. No contact needed in the physical, and you can send and receive love. You can send your counterpart, your soulmate, your twin flame love, and you can also receive it. And it is an amazing way to kind of get out of this frustration, okay? Where you're like, I need to make something happen. I'm getting really frustrated because I've been there myself. You're getting frustrated. You're checking movement. You're doing all these things to get that person's attention. Well, the thing is, the reason why they haven't reached out physically might not be what you think, okay? Spirit also wants me to tell you this. It's like there is a deeper reason for this void that you find yourself in, because your connection is not, wow, the Fool just fell down onto the floor. This is your new beginning. This is a new beginning that is different. This is a connection that is so different that it can't start like the other connections. And you know that on a soul level, you know that this is not like the other connections. You know it because you have never felt like this with anyone else in your life. But that leap of faith that both of you are taking, you're being prepared for that. But don't be fooled by no contact, because indeed in the void is where everything happens, and it is what you make. It is basically a blank canvas for you to paint on. And how do you paint? Well, you paint with that story that you tell yourself. You tell yourself, oh my God, this is horrible. This is awful. Why is that person not doing this or that? But what if, okay, I mean, it sounds wild, but what if that was helping you, that no contact phase? What if your soul bond was already nurtured in that physical absence, so that you could, when you come together, oh my God, Ace of Cups, when you are in union on the physical plane, you're both ready on a soul level, because it does not help you if you get together but you're not really ready. You know what I mean? Like, who would you be in that relationship? Who would you be if you really put yourself there into that point in time where everything is perfect between you, like where really your dream relationship plays out with them, or your dream connection, whatever you share as of like your vision for the future? Because I feel like there is so much more. There is so much more. It's, wow, splitting the deck at that card. There is so much more than just being quote unquote in a relationship here. You have a shared vision, you have a purpose on your life, okay? You have a shared purpose together, but you have a purpose on your life separately. Sometimes we wish we could just force things into being, But then we also have to see like everything that happens, even though we sometimes don't want to acknowledge it, it happens at the right time. It does not happen a second too late. There is no such thing as too late. I mean, think about it this way. Think about all the things that had to happen, okay? Also with that angel here, you're definitely being protected in this. I'm also sensing that you might have ancestors, angels, spirit guides reaching out to you, helping you in this. And everything that had to take place for your paths to cross in the physical. Do you think that in that universe where there are infinite possibilities, like all these little strings that had to connect for you to meet, to even meet in this vast universe, do you think it's really not possible that you might also get your fulfillment? I mean, we're not here on this earth to not have what we want. You know, that dream, that desire has been placed in your heart for a reason, and that connection that you feel is there. It is there. But what is happening for you with that Magician card? Let me pull that out once more. The Magician card is about bringing the unseen, quote unquote unseen, because if you can see it in your mind, you can't see it. It's just not, you can't touch it. But bring it, the unseen to the seen. That's what he's doing here. He's reaching out into the unseen, as above, so below, you know, as within, so without. He's drawing the immaterial into the material. And this is what we're being reminded here, is that everything that is material, the contact, the movement, the signs, the synchronicity, all has been mined before. So Spirit wants you to know that you're not powerless in this, but what are you focusing on every single day? You're being called to focus on connection, okay? To focus, instead of saying like, okay, I'm not in contact, this is all not working, and you see all these signs, but you're like, no, it's not working because even though I see all these signs, that doesn't mean anything to me because if I don't have the text, it's not working. Spirit wants you to acknowledge everything, every step of the way, because everything you see is the unfolding. Everything you see belongs to the unfolding. And as long as you say for yourself, I am in that timeline where everything is unfolding perfectly, guess what? You are in that timeline. Imagine it like this. There are infinite possibilities for you to experience this, okay? If you limit yourself and if you say, okay, it needs to happen in this way, first that person's going to reach out, then we're going to get into that relationship, then this is going to happen. This is you limiting yourself from your 3D perspective. But Spirit wants you to really, Wheel of Fortune, open yourself up to the infinite possibilities. Because what if that beautiful vision that you have, okay, that you can feel it, you can feel the future, you can feel that fulfillment that is waiting for you. Your future self is basically sending you signs every single day and is telling you to persist. What if there were a million ways for that to unfold and you can't do wrong? You can't go wrong. You don't have to go through your day every single day asking yourself like, oh my God, if I do this, am I gonna mess it up? Is that person not gonna love me anymore? But you're actually being called to literally, because it's a soul connection, this is not your everyday romance, okay? This is not your everyday type of relationship where you just go on a couple dates and you see if you're vibing. You see if you're vibing in the astral, basically. You know what I mean? You're dating in the astral plane, okay? I'm currently writing a book on twin flames, and there is this concept of Hieros Gamos, the divine marriage. You are, I don't know if it resonates, but maybe it does. Like, on a soul level, you feel like you're married to that person. You feel like you're tied to that person. You feel like there is such a familiarity and intimacy and connection, and there is no wall between you. There is no boundary. There is no distance. And every single moment where you tune into this truth, because there is a truth, you know, a factual truth that we can tune into when we're rationally explaining things, but there is a truth that is deeper, that is taking place on a soul level. And that truth on a soul level does not need explanation. It does not need anyone from the outside to tell you, okay, this is your twin flame. This is your counterpart. It is going to happen. Here is the stamp. Here is the confirmation. Here is the way. Here are 10 steps on how you can manifest your union. But no, you manifest the union regardless if you start finally listening. Sorry, I'm rambling. If you start listening to your soul. If you start doing what feels right, not what you think is right. Not like, okay, if I do this, am I gonna get it? No, you have it. There's no getting. Think about it this way. Your souls have been connected ever since your souls have been connected or in union even before you met. And that was the illusion. The illusion was that you're not connected. So when you met, for a second, I guess you can follow me if you're on the twin flame journey yourself. For a second, when you met and you weren't researching everything and you weren't bombarded with all these opinions, you were feeling it. Because your souls, you were merging and you were like, oh my God, it's happening. We're one. Like it is here. I feel so blissful. I feel so content. But then your rational mind came in and started to pick it apart, and every single thing you saw in the physical, you started to analyze it, and you started to be like, no, this can't be, all the synchronicity, I'm just making it up. You're being asked to be fully guided and led by your higher self in this. And let me tell you, as someone who's been on this for 2.5 years, your love is the truth, okay, of this connection. And there is another message. I don't want to ramble. This is already getting very long and I want to share a couple more things. So first of all, your twin flame, your counterpart, cannot not think about you. Okay, so whenever you're worried about being in no contact and everything and you're like, are they really thinking about me? It's impossible for them to not think about you. They can't, because your higher selves are already merged, okay? On that level, you are merged. So you're both part of each other, not physically, but spiritually, okay? There is no separation between you. You're in a constant back and forth with each other energetically. And the beautiful thing is that you're following each other. You're giving each other strength. You're giving each other love and energy. You're responding to each other. And that's why sometimes you might know this. You can feel even their worries. You can feel when they're going through a tough time and suddenly out of the blue you feel devastated. You feel like heavy, just that heaviness. That is you picking up on their energy. If you want to learn more about how that works, how to really kind of spot these subtle differences in energy, when they're missing you, when they're reaching out to you, signs they're thinking about you, go to the link down below. I have a whole guide on it. It's my telepathy guide. It contains over 22 exercises. If you grab it this month of June, you will get a free guided meditation that I've recorded to quantum leap with your person. It does not only work for twin flames, of course it works with every specific person, stranger, crush, soulmates, so check it out. It's down below. But let me share 3 things I have learned that I can give you on your way as advice. So the first thing is, the love you feel for them is also the love they feel towards you, okay? Of course, that applies for a twin flame connection. I'm not talking necessarily about every single SP, because trust me, there are, if you know, like there are different connections in our lives. It's not always exactly the same, but with twin flames, because you're one soul, there is no such thing as convincing them to love you or earning that love. You can't lose it. It's unconditional love. That is why it is sometimes so hard to even deal with it because you have never experienced it. I mean, probably even with your parents. I mean, okay, we're all like, yeah, okay, our parents, they should love us unconditionally, but realistically, who do you know in your life, even friends, family? There is always sort of a condition, or if you do that, I might be upset, but with a twin flame, you just can't be mad at them. You can get triggered, but you're not gonna lose your love, and they're not gonna lose their love for you just because you're not perfect, just because you're flawed, just because you're going through something. And that is a beautiful reminder. That gives you so much comfort to just know that. Number 2 is don't try to stop thinking about them, okay? Because that probably won't work. If you try to forcefully stop yourself from thinking about them, you're gonna get into this, oh my God, I'm not allowed to think about them. Now I thought about them. Oh my God, I messed up. And then you get into this loop of shame, of trying to monitor your thoughts. You get obsessive about your thoughts. Instead, I would acknowledge every single thought as connection, as building this beautiful connection further. You're pouring into the connection. You're not apart. They are only ever as far away as your inner sanctum, where you can reach out, where you can feel their presence, where you can open your heart for their care and love that they have for you, because they do. And number 3 is I would also advise you to communicate anything that is on your mind, okay? Don't postpone this, don't put pressure on yourself and push it all down. And sometimes we have feelings that we would love to discuss with our twin flame, and don't ever think you can't talk to them about that. You can reach out telepathically. You can pour your heart out. It's when we're tapping into thought transmission, it's not just to affirm, oh my God, that person loves me. It's about talking to them or reaching out in a way that is natural, the way that you would do it. It's not about saying a couple affirmations, it's about really intentionally building that, unseen communication so that it can then reflect in the external. That is your power. I mean, think about it. All those times where you felt powerless in this, like you can't do anything because you're in no contact and everything. Once you tune into this, you're not going to be frustrated anymore. Sure, you're physically maybe going to miss your person at times, but it gets so much easier. It gets so much easier. If you want the scoop on that, it is in my guide that is linked down below. And let me tap into a quick message from them. What are they thinking right now? Let's see. Yeah. I feel like when they met you, well, here's what they're thinking. Everything made sense in a second. All the hardships I went through, all the pain, all the suffering, it was almost like with your embrace, you took it all away. And I really mean that energetic embrace, even if you didn't physically touch. When they look into the future, please, please know that you're always in it. There is not a single timeline where they don't see you in their future. Even when a counterpart, quote unquote, is running, which I don't necessarily believe in this runner chaser dynamic. I think we're both just mirroring each other, okay? But if someone is kind of going back and retreating, it's because they're facing themselves. It's not necessarily because they don't love you. So please don't ever think that your twin flame, just because they're acting in a certain way that you might not fully understand yet, they don't love you. Because the love that your twin flame has for you is truly unconditional and everlasting. It can't be You know, it's like an everlasting, eternal flame that can't go out. You can pour water over it, there can be storms, it won't go out. This is the light that never goes out. Wow, this is really beautiful. Justice is definitely being served, okay? On a soul level, please know that there are no obstacles. The challenge is to dissolve this veil of illusion, to hold on to what is going on in your physical and see it as the only reality. Because that can't forever be there. Like obstacles, circumstance, and the physical can't forever be there. At some point, they are going to disappear, but it's not about, oh my God, I want to do all these things to make them disappear. How can I make my circumstances disappear? It's about when you're ready for it energetically, okay? And you're not waiting, you know? Like when you can find the connection in the here and now, it kind of gives you more calm and more patience, because when you are able to enjoy it now, even before it unfolds, you can't lose. Because you already have it even before you have it. You know what I mean? Like even before you have it physically. Oh my God, with the Judgment card. Both judgment and justice. Please know that's working, okay? That's the last thing I want to say. I'm like rambling. This is like way too long, but I love that topic. Honestly, it's one of my favorite topics to talk about. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget, if that message resonated, if you took something from that video to fully receive my energy, also like and subscribe so you can benefit from this amazing community. Our energy together, we're exchanging energy as well, you know, we're helping each other to manifest. So let's make this a beautiful group experience here. And well, if it resonated, also feel free to drop something in the comments below. You can also drop the time it is right now where you are, because that is an angel number that might give you more clarity on your journey. So that was it. Thank you. I appreciate you for being here, sticking around until the end, and I will see you around in the next one.